What's going on, everybody? It's Shwayne Moonlight, and I just recently beat Elden Ring Nightreign. If you want a quick opinion on the game, it's good. Buy it, 8 out of 10. Not too bad. But if you are here for an actual in depth answer and thing that's pretty much spoiler free, then I'm right here to help you. I will talk about my thoughts on the bosses at the end. If you don't want to be spoiled about bosses, which probably where the spoilers would be, I'll say it before, hey, we're about to talk about bosses. And, I'll give you a quick warning before then. And of course, before we get into this, if you liked the video, like, subscribe. I've been talking Nightreign. I've been doing Dark Souls challenge runs. So if you're watching this video, you're already going to like my channel. So go check some other stuff out and subscribe. Now, with all that out of the way, let's talk Nightreign. So, game's pretty good. Obviously, it's a little different than your traditional Souls game. And I think feeling like understanding that definitely helps the game feel a lot better. It helps you in the long run. Because I don't know how you guys do a run of a Dark Souls game. I myself, because I challenge run it like 1 to 2 times a week, I've been used to, them going quick, finishing a run in 2 to 4 hours, maybe depending on how weak a weapon is. You do Nightreign though, and it's about 40 minutes of run if you make it to the Night Lord. Doesn't mean you beat him, just 40 minutes to get there. And that's quite a long time. By the time, if I were to even first try every single Night Lord, it'd be 40 minutes. 40 minutes times 8. That'd be 300. That'd be 32. Well, I guess 3,200 minutes, which divided by 6 would be about 5 hours and 20 minutes. Or, yeah. Yeah. So that's obviously, the game's pretty long. If you even first try everything, there's could be failures and stuff. And that's where the roguelikeness of the game kicks in. Now, I played some roguelikes before, and this game's pretty unique in terms of that, in terms of the buffs you get for finishing a run. You know, I haven't played many, but I know like in Hades, you get like skills and weapons when you die and could go back in with those. Nightreign, you just get little crystals. And honestly, most of these I find to be pretty terrible. You get special ones from bosses. I won't go over what they do again until the bosses section. Those are pretty good. Most of them are actually really good. But then I get, maybe it's just like who I'm playing, but I play Iron Eye, as you can see on the screen with the footage. And legitimately, 80% of the gems I've gotten are all for like guard boosting or like increase mind, which I'm not doing any of that. I'm a bowman. So I don't find them to be very useful. There are some you can get personal for your character, which they can be a little bit more useful. For example, if you do the story mode for Iron Eye, the first one you get makes the critical hit mark on someone last longer. And when you get a crit, it restores runes, or it gives you runes, so that's pretty good. I haven't looked at what other ones do because I'm working on them. I just beat the game. I'm going 100% in as I go. So let me know down in the comments actually what other ones do. Are they more useful than that? Because like that one's kind of handy, but it's not like by the time the critical hit thing already runs out the mark, I already got the thing to reapply it. So I don't know. That's semantics. And I guess I would say if I was playing like Guardian, probably the crystals would be a lot better. I do like though that some of the ones that I've gotten, they're like, oh, apply blood loss to a weapon, change your starting weapon's Ash of War. That's pretty unique. That's pretty cool. And you can get some with character specific buffs, even not the ones you get from the story mode, just straight up like a random crystal that gives. I got one that's like the Revenant or sorry, not the Revenant, the Duchess already, like, her weapon already does, like, increased magic damage. And I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. But yeah, the crystals, I think they're okay, but I feel like maybe what they should do is either be buffed heavily, like, why do I want a crystal that gives me +1 mind? Or you should get crystals related to the character you play. So if I do a run as Iron Eye, win or lose when I get out, I should get some crystals related to Iron Eye. Bow increase or like damage up, something like that. I think that'd be cool. Another thing about the game is those like when you beat a boss, you get a free item. Like they pop up, you get your choice. I do not know what they're called. All this time playing, I never actually read it. So I'm gonna call them the little like they almost kind of look like the humanity from Dark Souls 1, just with some color around them. But anyways, I'm gonna call them the humanity stones, just for reference, because I'm making it up. Those things are so hit or miss. Because I mean, once again, I don't know what it is with Iron Eye, but every time I do a run as him, I'm getting whenever you guard boost, get HP back. Whenever you guard boost, get FP back. And I'm like, I'm using a bow. I know what guard boosting is, but I'm not blocking hits with a bow. I'm dodge rolling that thing. Or then they have like sometimes when walking have a spell effect happen, and I've only ever had those trigger when I'm healing. So I'm like, is it meant to be when I'm healing have an effect happen? Or am I somehow every time I heal, that's exactly when it goes off? Like the raining stars, or I've had frenzied flames sprout from my feet. I really don't know. Like legitimately, can someone once again asking for comments? Does anyone know if that's a glitch or is that just how it works? And it's just a really weird wording. I don't know. All in all, though, I do like that system, and because of the way it works for bosses. If a boss is weak to flame, you can check the forts, and you can see by defeating it, you get a flame weapon. And I do think it's kind of fun that you can choose what weapon you get from it. And it always has some variety, so that's pretty cool. Now, of course, little fun thing to talk about is the skins of the game. As you can see, I'm rocking something special. This is from Dark Souls 2, the Drang armor originally. And the fact that they have reference skins is so cool. And I do get why some skins are like locked to specific characters, like having the Havel armor locked to the Berserker, because I mean it's a heavy fit for a heavy man, that makes sense. I do wish the Faram armor was on Iron Eye. It would make no sense for it to be, but that's just my favorite armor set, and I don't like playing the Wilder. But I do think it's crazy. Apparently you can only get the Dark Souls reference armors once you beat the final boss. And I feel like that's a little too late game. I mean, you can get the Dawn and Dusk outfit after you beat 2 bosses, which again, I still also think it's weird. Like, it's only 2 options till you beat the game. At the very least, to my understanding. I don't know if there's more you can unlock later, but I think the game, though they all look good. Don't get me wrong. I'm not dissing the skins. They're fly. They're cool. But it would also help if we had a bit more? And actually, speaking of the references, I do think it would have been cool if they had a bit more. Like, I know they have some past bosses into Nightreign, but I feel like it would be cooler if they had some more things. Maybe I haven't stumbled upon any. But it really, I mean, I guess that's what I should have expected from Elden Ring Nightreign. I want some more past items, more some past enemies. Can you imagine walking down the road and then you see a Black Knight or a Silver Knight hanging out, and Orlando Archer style? That would be cool to see. But those are just some minor gripes. Maybe I set my expectation bar a little too high. But to actually talk about the gameplay of the game, I think the gameplay itself is pretty good once you get into the groove. First few attempts, just like everybody else, I was not making it far. I just walking around, then I would die pretty easily till I learned the strategy. And now it seems like everybody kind of gets it. Best thing to do, run for the churches, run for every single fort, go into a mine, get a smithing stone. Now, I do think it's weird that you can get purple weapons. Like, it almost seems like I wish you could upgrade every weapon like you could normally. Like you can get like regular Dark Souls, Elden Ring, you could get a weapon to plus 10 or 25. But in this game, it's like you could get a gray weapon and upgrade it 2 times. Then you can get a blue weapon, upgrade it once. Then you get purple and legendary, and they can't be upgraded. And it just kind of throws off my groove a little bit because I'm thinking, all right, I got a weapon, I need a smithing stone, let me hold on to it, and then I find one, and then I run to a blacksmith, and it's like, oh, nope, can't upgrade it. I'm like, oh, cool, okay. But I do also like it in a sense because this you can put buffs on your starting armament, and if you put the right buffs on it for it to be good for the boss, technically that's all you need for the game. That will save you for the entire time. So it's not a big thing, but I feel like the upgrading system is just a little odd. But I guess it's fine. It's fine. And I just realized, kind of got sidetracked from talking about the day cycle. I think the 3-night cycle is pretty cool. However, I don't think it works well with the environmental change, the environment change. If you haven't experienced it yet, sometime after you beat like your first boss, you unlock a new environment, the like lava pool area. And I'm not sure when it goes away, if it's like you have the lava pool area till you beat a boss and then you get a different one later, or if it's like every once in a while you have the lava area. But there's like a lava one, which ain't too bad. Then there's a snow peak one, which is awesome. I love the mountaintops of the giants. And snow zones are always so cool. However, I'm on a Scarlet Rot area, and it always puts the Night 2 boss there. And just standing in the area gives you Scarlet Rot. That's terrible, Elden Ring. That's terrible. From Software, why would you do this to me? You have to do a mini quest to go to get a cure for it. But if you don't know it exists, then how would you know to go get it? It's fine, they're gonna do their From Software thing. They're gonna put poison everywhere, and I'm gonna buy their new game every single time, and I'm make my way through that poison area. It's fine. It's fine. But either way, it's not the biggest deal. It's fine. I don't know if there are any more yet. Those are the 3 I've gotten. It seems like every other boss unlocks a area change. So there might be one more, and I have no clue what it is. I've not beaten I've beaten literally the first 5 Night Lords in order. Or wait. Yeah. Yeah, okay. Counting them right. So maybe you get other ones later, and I'm unaware of. There might be a Frenzied Flame area. I got no clue. Not saying that for a fact, to be clear. But anyways, that's enough about the day-night cycle. Without talking, if we're going to continue talking about the gameplay, I'm going to have to talk about bosses. So this is your chance to leave the video if you don't want boss spoilers. Like it for now. Save it to watch later. Because, of course, you're going to want to hear the rest of what I got to say, right? No spoilers, but you want to hear what I say, eh? All right, I'm going to assume you're gone now and start talking some bosses. The bosses of Elden Ring Nightreign really vary. The night bosses, like the day 1 and 2 bosses, can be kind of cool. I do wish they had some more original Dark Souls bosses. If you're unaware, they have 2 from each. Centipede Demon and Gaping Dragon for Dark Souls 1. Which I want to know who asked for them. I feel like those are two of the most skipped bosses in From Software history. Gaping Dragon, you can skip from having the Master's Key. And if you pay 30 humanity, you can skip fighting Centipede Demon. I have not fought those two guys in like 4 years because I skip them every single time. Because I can. I don't care to fight them. Dark Souls 2, they have Smelter Demon and the Duke's Dear Freya. I actually really love that Smelter Demon fight. Oh my gosh. He has the same moveset. Plus, he gets some blue fire, so it could be like the Age Smelter Demon reference. And I was like, what? That's cool. That's cool. I like that reference. I got that one. He gets a 10 out of 10 for me. 100% biased. I'm a Dark Souls 2 fan. If you like Dark Souls 2, check my channel out a bit more, of course. Duke's Dear Freya also is one of my favorite bosses because I love the Moonlight Greatsword. You get the Moonlight Greatsword from the Duke's Dear Freya. So personally, I was happy with this selection. It wasn't top tier. I would have loved to have the Burnt Ivory King, but I didn't think they would do DLC, so I wasn't like fully disappointed. It's about what I expected, but it would have been cool. Then Dark Souls 3, we get Nameless King, Peak. 100% understand why he's there. But then the Dancer of the Boreal Valley? Her? Out of like every option? She's a good boss. She's fine, but I feel like, I already feel like Nameless is a weird choice because like Gaping, Centipede, Smelter, and Freya are all pretty easy bosses. Nameless King is already was known for the longest time as one of the hardest bosses in gaming history. That's something you can look up and see it yourself. I would link an article, but I'm lazy and don't feel like finding one. But the Dancer just felt so random. I went against her once so far at the very least. She was, same fight. Just, I don't know. We had like, the first four were like all monster creatures. Then Nameless King can be thought of a monster himself from how difficult he is. And then we just get this elegant dancer. She's cool. Then in terms of Elden Ring bosses, we have Morgott again, which I hate that they changed up his moveset because they made it so much worse. Incredibly worse. I hate it. Then they have Godfrey. I've seen him, and I like that they, instead of having him go dragon, he goes crucible. If you haven't seen it, look it up. It's actually so funny to see. Let me see. I've also gotten some Crucible Knight and Hippo Duo, which is a diabolical combo. I mean, I guess two creatures of the Crucible coming at ya. But, it's a fight to say the least. Well, actually, it's not too bad. The Hippo comes out halfway through, and it doesn't have all that Crucible magic, so it's not terrible. But it's a diabolical duo. And to me, those are all the bosses that I've personally experienced that are worth mentioning. None of them else were really that, notable. Now, Night Lords, on the other hand, man, those guys are both annoying, but also kind of cool. Because, like, on the one hand, you have Augur, clearly a Bloodborne-inspired creature, floating around, super elegant, perfectly balanced fight. If you didn't know, you can hit those, like, little tentacle things that come up, or those little jellyfish. If you hit and destroy them, it actually does damage back to Augur. So melee builds, you can be a little bit more useful. Excuse me. Not that I'm dissing you. I'm just saying I understood that it seemed like a ranged focus boss, but that's how it got me and my brother through it. It made it so much easier. The triple dogs, those guys were cool to see. Not much thought on them. But then they also have bosses like those two bugs that like Moth and Scorpion. I'm like, what are we doing here? This is a Night Lord? It felt so random. And then that dragon with the mouth open. Oh my gosh. AoEs, lightning everywhere. It's insanity. How are we supposed to fight that? Ugh. But then the final boss. Somehow the final boss is way more balanced than any of them yet. If you haven't reached the final boss yet, somehow he's the easiest one, at least in my personal opinion. And he has a Moonlight Greatsword. If you paid attention to what I just said, that's my favorite weapon in the entire series. And he has like a super light up version. Are you kidding me? He is now my favorite From Software final boss. Style alone, peak. His moveset, wicked. I do think you should actually, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I feel like you should be able to get to him a lot easier. I feel like it would be cool if they would just like let you have some starting items and just go charge him, so you don't have to go through a 3-day night cycle for when you get comboed, but it's fine. And I may be wrong, but I think he's poison proof. I fought him with a poison bow the time I fought him, and he never once got poisoned. I don't know if he resists everything or just poison. So if you know, and the wikis aren't updated yet at the time of me recording this. In fact, only 4% of gamers have beaten him as the time of me making this, at least on Xbox. So I have no clue what he's resistant to. Maybe he's immune. Maybe he's just so resistant it never procced. But either way, he was so good and made the game so worth it. Him alone was wicked. So overall, what do I think about the game? It's great. Has some things that just aren't personal to me as a challenge runner that make it a little odd, but overall, I would recommend the game for everybody to play. You play it, your mom play it, your aunt, your uncle, your dog, everyone go play it. And of course, if you disagree, let me know. I would love to express some emotions with it. Maybe I'm just a guy who enjoys Souls games too much, and I'm happy to have something new to hyperfixate on it. In the meantime, I got some more Night Lords to beat, so maybe I'll update this in a comment. And thanks for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Peace out.